Eric and the Light Star. Since Eric was little, he always daydreamed. His imagination grew every time he left the small cabin by the sea, where he lived with his grandmother. Every evening he loved listening to the wind breaking against the waves and watching the last sunrise disappear. He had his favorite stone to sit on and watch his most loved star appear in the sky. With his finger in the sand, he looked at the horizon dotted with stars. When darkness took over, Eric ran outside with a soft blanket to fall again on the same stone, looking up amazed at the shine of his beloved star. He stretched out his arm, pretending to reach it, feeling a warm sensation on his fingers, but the only feeling disappeared when he opened his eyes more. He summer flew by with this routine, admiring the huge sky, twinkling like it was greeting him. Then, to his surprise, on the hottest night in decades, a solar eclipse happened. The sun and the moon were in the same place in the same sky. This caused many emotions in Eric. Excitement was with him during the middle of the supposed day, when the moon shined again and the night gave back its dark cover. The universe gave a cruel surprise to the boy who studied the cosmos from the sand on the beach. After watching in wonder, Eric got up from his strong stone. He had never seen the sky so close and alive. In front of his eyes, those lights kept shining, but something was moving. Was it moving? Did it move from the sky? Impossible. He saw something move between the clouds, between other stars, between the waves and foam, almost like it was breathing. The light without shape came closer, not knowing if it moved by itself or because of the waves. But magically it fell into Eric's hands, who put his hand inside to catch it. Instantly the light took shape before him. It was a young woman with silver skin and golden hair, lighting up the light with her bright eyes. What a scare, my goodness! Who are you? No. Where are you from? You just fell from the sky in front of my eyes, sighed Eric, almost scared and amazed. I'm Ellie, a part of the sky that filled my choice. You admire me so much that the eclipse made your wish true, Eric. I decide to keep your company at least until your summer ends. Eric calmed down very quickly. He accepted this dream that was not a dream, but when light Ellie came closer and closer, he took a few steps back. The light was born in a new world. Her form of cosmic dust, stars, and chemical elements had now become a human form, a life almost useless to the universe. But this sky, this star had never seen Erin so close, or better, sight, never looked at a human with so much detail. This curiosity made her forget the simple fact of walking. How do you walk? Naturally falling because of gravity. The young boy, without thinking, stretched his hand and knees to hold her, feeling a warm light that reached his bones, shining golden all around. It was strange, odd, but it was what he admired. When he made sure Italy was safe, Eric's heart jumped. After calming down, he asked, "What do you mean the eclipse made my wish true? And how do you know my name?" The moon sent a message to the sun, telling about your persistence and surprise, she said. So the sun called a meeting to do a small miracle for a boy and watch the here. So don't talk alone, because when you run out of ideas, I looked at your heart. Meanwhile, the young light made the keenness, sharp, and curiosity of a special human who taught her to stand and walk by herself. Ellie's words sounded sweet and peaceful in Eric's ears. Before they kept talking, he took a moment to enjoy how Ellie's light and the moon's light mixed to break the world peace. Before he could think about this company, he noticed the days passed like the wind, and every morning changed because Ellie stayed close. So Eric memorized her bad jokes, her laugh, her hair color, and her light scent. He taught her to walk, to sing, to talk. Every time Eric taught her something, she rewound her life in the stars, how the sky, her home, became a firmament with small lamps. She loved the new life she was building. The new feelings made a creature, remembering why she hid deadly silence. Up there, everything was silent, she told him. How can you have so much to teach and tell? Even Bashir hasn't it. But your voice is magic to me, and your examples to explain things motivate me every day. Eric felt fascinated. That is it. He loved how every word Ellie said showed admiration for him. How since the day she arrived, he loved to say her name, even if he knew she wouldn't notice the feeling growing in him. So he only loved his eyes, like a human loving his favorite star. When their eyes met, he looked away and said, "Ellie, even if you are here, you still light up my sky." No everything is possible so you can belong to this world and not have to go back, only if you want. She looked at him surprised, with tears in her eyes, saying the wish fulfilled by the eclipse not only granted the wish of a lonely Eric, but also a star looking for company and love. You should practice your words for when your true love one comes, said Ellie. But it doesn't matter. If you keep talking like this, maybe I will forget how to go back. When Eric heard Ellie talk about another love, another war, his heart shrank with sadness, realizing she was not preparing a shared destiny, but maybe just a friend on the way. With Ellie around, Eric discovered he was not alone. After the strange death of his parents on spring in '92, when in a sudden and almost ironic event his parents were taken from his war hit by a school bus, just as he was entering his school. Unaware of his misfortune, in the middle of his chaotic school routine, while happily walking down to the hall to 9B, where only the classroom door slammed innocently, mocking his unexpected fate. And then later moved to the beach cabin with his grandmother Imelda. He had no choice but to stay absorbed in the small things of his short life, asking every day why and what for. The vivid image of his parents saying goodbye from far away, and the later sense of seeing the broken bodies kept Eric in deep sadness, with a blank mind and a paused heart. He looked at the terrible scenes, avoiding the outside noise rising in painful screams. His existence was tested from that night, fighting between infinity empties and the eternal war on earth. Everett let himself be carried by sadness. He liked how pain ran through his body when touching a sharp knife, then same crimson liquid cut out him. With his scratched body, Eric felt, at last, for a moment, that he escaped his life. He let tears wet his pillow every night before falling asleep. It was nothing more than the pain of living without feeling alive. A mind full of notes and sound, maybe full of anguish and panic, and an unbearable hole of complete darkness, which ended for Eric the day he looked up and faced what was really infinite. And who was Ellie? Even in her human form, Ellie did not forget her word, under that ineffable place without the veil we all have when born. That is why the meeting between the sun and the moon to decide if she could come down or not is not simply coincidence of celestial bodies. Everything is carefully planned. What if I told you we have more lives than a cat? Ellie said one day we rested with Eric on the beach. Think of this place like a university where you learn everything, you make mistakes, and you get chance to try again as many times as you want. Sometimes life ends before we can do something with it. Eric said, thinking about his parents. My worry is beyond what you know, beyond what you can imagine. There we who have lived as many lives as needed to graduate life. The last step is to come to this world your art with some special condition, Ellie said with conviction. I cannot shake the past or my future. I am Eric. You decide to come to this world to live here with your grandmother, and before you were born, I assure you, you also knew what would happen with your parents, and they accepted this to move on to their next life. You accepted your suffering, only that you have obeyed in your age. With Everett around, Ellie found love. What started as friendship soon took another form. Their talks became deeper. Together they explored thoughts, ideas, and feelings. Feelings that turned into touches, gentle kisses, and deep hues. Eric was surprised to tremble as Ellie touched, but by moonlight they woke up loving each other. Life is a series of pains, but it is also full of small moments wrapped in love and wishes. Ellie told Eric one night, light by thousands of birds in the sky, rocked by the sounds of waves. At that moment, Eric looked at her more deeply than ever. His gaze went through her eyes. Their hands and bodies moved by themselves. They kissed long, fearsome, then stronger. They ran out of breath, their hearts beating fast. Eric's body couldn't hate his primitive instinct, and Ellie's body was ready for it, surrendering to his touch, trembling, feeling, falling. However, between magic and new reality, a heavenly warning came in whispers of wind. The moon and sun told Ellie she must return to the sky before the next full moon. If not, she would be trapped forever in the human world, losing the connection to her bright essence in that other world. This news felt like a soft but firm shadow on Eric's heart. He knew he could lose his companion at any moment. Facing this final warning, the young man found himself at a crossroads. To risk defying the laws of the cosmos, to help Ellie stay and face the consequences, or let her go back home, keeping the memory of an unforgettable summer and facing the terrible sadness that threatened to return would say goodbye to someone he loved again. Every night on the beach, he looked at the moon and the stars, searching for a sign, beginning to understand that this choice would decide their fate forever. The nights after the god's warning were long, silent, and full of looks that said more than words. Eric and Ellie sat on the same stone where their story began, looking at the sky with hearts between two words. Are you afraid? Eric asked one dark morning when the sea seemed to breathe with them. Ellie didn't answer right away. Her eyes, usually so bright, now showed a different shade as if a swirl of emotion was inside. Not afraid of disappearing, she said calmly. I am afraid of forgetting you if I go back, of time erasing you like wine erases drownings on the beach. Eric took her warm, beating hands and put them on his chest. I will never forget you, not even if you forget. You will live in every star night, in every wave breaking in front of this cabin. You will live in me. Tears began to fall. She cried for the first time. The cosmos doesn't know crying, but love does. And with this, she understood she had crossed an unrepairable threshold. With each day passing, the final day came closer. Only 3 nights left to the full moon, and as the days dawned, the weight of the decision grew more. One day, while walking with Eric by the sea, she noticed details she had never seen before: the sound of gulls, the texture of wet sand between her toes, the salty smell of the wind. Everything was clearer, more real. I see you. I see why you so live. Even with pain is worried, she whispered one evening while the sun hid. Here, everything is real, even fear, even love. Eric smiled sadly, because feeling ill is white but is human, and now you are. The last night before the full moon was clear as a glass, as if the whole universe held its breath. Eric might as well picnic on the beach with a blanket where they both lie to watch the sky, with the colors filtering the like tiny stars. If you decide to lead, promise me something, Eric said without looking away from the sky. Anything. Promise me that from there you will keep shining for me. That every time I look up and see your light, I know you think of me too. Ellie turned to look at him. Her look was sweet but determined. I don't need to promise that, Eric, she whispered, touching her forehead to his, because I'm not going to leave. Eric felt the arm leave his chest. What you say? I choose to stay, she said firmly, shaking the universe. I choose to live. Its imperfect days, its tears, its fragile beauty. I choose your looks, your voice, your hands. I choose to love you here. But if you stay, you will lose your connection to the sky. You will no longer be who you were. Illy smiled. Baby, I didn't get to be what I once was, who can no longer be a future. But I will dare to know who I can be by your side. As she kissed him slowly, as if the love they embraced could change even the reality of the cosmos. A kiss full of promises, surrender, and a future to build. At that moment, warm breeze blew. The sky, which had been like a boiler, filled the air with dancing lights, shooting stars crossing the sky, as if the whole cosmos was blessing them. Shapes, leaks, shines everywhere. The moon, as a silent witness behind clouds, showed a thoughtful face with the sun, sleeping at the edge of the world, gave one last night ride on Ely. They accepted, she said with a lump in her throat. The universe accepts my decisions. The next days were different, not because something extraordinary happened, but because every simple thing carried a meaning. Illinois, feeling human, learned what illness and healing were, freed from happiness and laughed until her stomach hurt. She learned to code with ERIK, to lose card games by the fire, to learn everything in the dance under the rain, even with no music. ERIK, for his part, found in her the energy that had stopped working after his parents' death. Ellie didn't just feel the emptiness of his loneliness. She taught him to love, trust, and hell again. Every word was a key reminding him that behind the darkest darkness, a small spark is ready to light up. One day, when walking on the beach at sunset, Ella stopped suddenly, looking at him with the same mix of wonder and love she always showed. You know, she said, before coming to Earth, I thought the universe was infinite. No, I was wrong. The universe fits here. And she put Eric's hand on her chest, right here. Eric hit her thickly, afraid to let go and lose her. Down for style, he whispered, his face almost lost in her hair. Thank you for teaching me to laugh, Ilian's word. You're best. The lonely cabin by the sea was still their hope, the silent witness of a love that defied the laws of the cosmos. On cloudless night, they went to their favorite rock, the rock of their story. Eric still lifted his arm like when he was a boy, just like the day he grew up, trying to read the stars. But now, when he stretched his hand, it was always Ellie's hands joined with his. On the beach, waves kept breaking with the same rhythm, and the brightest star in the sky kept shining special for them, like it did when they were young. No one knew that the star was walking the earth, loud, cried, and loved no one but Eric. And though time passed, and the world changed around her, their love continued. Infinity in its simplicity, eternal in its truth. Because in the end, it's not about fixing fate but wanting it together again and again. One night, many years later, with grey hair and hands marked by life, Eric got up from lying next to Ellie on the sand and asked in a shaking voice, "I promise to look at us in every starry night." Ellie cursed his face, her eyes full of the same light that caught him from the first day. "And here we are," he said, "keeping the promise." The soft sea breeze embraced them both, and above them the sky, seeming part of the sense, filled with millions of shining lights, showed one very special star smiling at them from infinity. And that every moment Eric knew their love was not from this world. No, it was much bigger than that. It was a love born from the sky and that, even on earth, will exist forever. The end.